What's going on, Infanity TV? You already know me. It's DJ Tricey Trice, and welcome back to a special episode of the LA Sparks Weekly Show. And look who I have with me. I have the new Sparks head coach, Coach Lynne Roberts. Thank you so much for joining the show and
Well,
taking some
thanks for
time.
having me.
Yeah, anytime, literally anytime. Just call us. Um, the first thing I want to do is just really, I like to start my interviews with just like giving you some cool accolades that I'm always on the internet. A lot of the people in the comments know about that. But once the Sparks announced that you were the head coach, I thought it was so cool that so many people just talked about how amazing you were. You have a phenomenal reputation. Like, I
Oh,
didn't have to
thanks.
go into the comments and like Twitter argue with people over and over about it. Like I heard mostly like your work ethic was amazing. It's like, and then I met you at the press conference there, and it's just I did a quick video after that, and all the fans just flooded the comments with like really positive words. So first off, I just want to say welcome to LA, and it seems
Thank
like
you.
our people have welcomed you as well and love your work ethic and are excited to see you get to work.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm humbled and honored to be here, and hopefully my reputation has followed me in terms of just being a hard worker and try to be as good of a person as I can. But I'm in LA to win, and the Sparks is a storied franchise, and I'm honored to be a part of it. That's for sure.
That's you said the magic word that all the fans love to hear. Win. In the first couple
Absolutely.
minutes, we got the word win out of you. But can you just talk a little bit more about being a player, then going into, being a college coach, and now being a head coach of the OG WNBA franchise? This has to feel like a golden ticket moment for you. Can you talk about what the transition has been like for you?
Yeah, it does feel like that, to be honest with you, and again, that's why it's humbling and it's exciting. And I feel like my whole career, when I was a player, an assistant, I got my first head job when I was 25, which is way too young, but thankfully I interviewed my way into it. But I have done, I think, I've put my head down and just gotten to work and been where my feet are. And I think that's the key, has been the key for me of success, of not worrying about what's next or where else do I want to go.
Yeah.
I think if you work really, really hard and you're good at what you do, opportunities present themselves. And so that's kind of what's happened here. And I couldn't be more excited to be in LA with these amazing fans. I mean, I just being in the airport, and I went to the USC Notre Dame game, and season ticket holders are coming up to me, and it's awesome. Like, just to be in a city that cares, and they want to see the Sparks do well, and so do I. So we're all in this thing together.
Yeah, love that. And let's talk about another amazing team and another amazing fan base that you were a part of in Utah before we jump into Sparks talk. That was another thing that was just overwhelming online was just the people from Utah talking about your impact that you had there. And most of them really, really wish you well. They were sad to see you go, but they really, really wished you well. Last year's draft class was like super incredible, and you had your hand in that with Alyssa Peely and
Mm-hmm.
her going into Minnesota and having such an impact there. Can you talk about some of the emerging talent that's coming out of the college space?
It's yeah. I mean, I was on a meeting today with the Sparks kind of scouting team and going through the draft board, and I mean, it is loaded, which is awesome. And
Mhm.
we're sitting good with two pick 13, couple late round picks. So it's exciting. But what's cool about women's basketball right now is that the talent is spreading out. There's more parity.
Yeah.
It makes the game more exciting, and you see these elite top draft picks at schools that you wouldn't have thought about 5, 10 years ago,
Hmm.
that's the coolest part, right? They're not all at one or two schools. They're spread out, which puts a little more work on our end to go scout. You got to go to different places, but it's great for the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Sparks ball now. A hot topic last year was, we were in a rebuilding phase. Would you consider this next year that we're going to a rebuilding phase, or is there something else that you would call it?
I don't love that word because it indicates that you're not preparing to win.
Hmm.
It kind of gives me as a coach, the players, the fans, maybe an easy out, and I'm not
Yeah.
into easy outs. And so, I'm also not naive. Like, the
Yeah.
W's incredible and stacked, and there's incredible coaching. And so it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take roster development, player buy-in. But that's the fun part. But I don't love the word rebuild. I want to win, and I want to win now. Understanding that it'll be challenging for anybody in this league to win.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy. It's not an easy league to win in. But my intention and my hope and my goal is to come in and win as much as we can right away.
Yeah. And you talked about that a little bit at the press conference. So, my question to you as a follow up is, you also talked about how this is such a great group and they have,
Yeah.
chemistry and they're having fun. How do you balance the winning culture with just the culture of the fun and making sure that the players are taken care of and are having a good time? How do you balance the two?
Well, I don't think you can do one without the other. I think in coaching, in sports, you're going to work when the time is to work, but we need to enjoy who we're doing it with. Life is short. This is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Let's enjoy what we're doing. I don't know that you can win big without having a group that enjoys being together,
Yeah.
enjoys doing the work. And then when you have a group that does that, they're going to stick together when hard times come, right? Because it's inevitable that it's going to come. You're going to it's peaks and valleys, and that's the nature of a basketball season. If you got a group that's pretty tight and having fun, you get through those times a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. And other than wins and losses, what are some ways that you might quantify success going into this next year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for me, I want to be there long term. I
Mm-hmm.
want to build a foundation and a culture that not only draws players in, maybe out of free agency or whatever, but then they want to stay. And
Yeah,
so, the culture piece, and that's such a catchword. Everyone uses it. What is culture? It can mean whatever, but culture is you walk into a locker room and you can feel it,
mm-hmm.
right? You walk into a team meal or whatever, training, practice, you can feel it.
Yeah,
And that comes from just authentic, genuine relationships with players and coaches and amongst each other, honesty, authenticness, and enthusiasm. Like I don't take myself very seriously. You will learn quickly.
yeah.
And so I like to have fun. I want to enjoy what I'm doing
Mm.
while we're doing it. But winning is fun. I don't care
Yeah,
what you're in sixth grade or you're playing in for the Sparks. Losing sucks.
yeah.
So it's a lot more fun to win.
It is a lot more fun to win. Agreed. So let's talk a little bit about the expansion draft. It's something strange that a lot of people who are, new to the W haven't seen maybe because we haven't had teams in a while. Going into the expansion draft this week and knowing that there's an expansion draft coming again next year, how do you even manage to start planning to create anything? Like, what's your process of taking it step by step and building on top of things that are kind of uncertain?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of an interesting time in the W right now because, like you said, there's an expansion draft Friday, and then in a year there's going to be two. I mean,
Yeah.
one draft, but two players, right? So, and then with the CBA, the nobody's going to be going into everyone after this season, unless they're on long-term deals already, they're
Hmm.
going to be free agents. So it's kind of, for me, I see that as a really fun time
Yeah.
to an opportunity to really build your roster in an exciting way. But my job as the coach is to just make sure that we take care of the players, make sure that that I love them up and support them, challenge them, develop all those things. Because because of all the change and kind of chaos, I want to be able to provide some stability for them
Yeah.
in our franchise. So that's kind of my role in it.
Yeah, and I love that it sounds like you're really investing your time into the
Yes.
people part of it instead of like the process or the things that might be happening on the outside. Can we talk really quickly about younger players? Because in the comments I constantly see like, "Oh, she's a rookie. Let her play. Give her some time to play." What's your philosophy around giving young players some time to play and also developing their talents?
Well, I think it's hard. In this league, it's so competitive. I mean, there's 144 of them,
Hmm.
and to make the team is hard enough. Then to get into
Yeah.
rotation, it's hard. And so, ultimately, my job is to do what's best for the franchise in
Hmm.
terms of what we're putting on the court. I think if you're gonna my philosophy kind of moving forward, if we're going to draft somebody, then we need to develop them. Now
Yeah.
they got to do their part too, right? They got to
Hmm.
put the work in and do all those things. But with the team that's around me, the brains of the room, like we're going to do our homework and leave no stone unturned and make sure that we're getting the players that fit to what we're trying to do and that fit our culture and franchise. So I do think, I mean, it's not the same, but in college, I played our freshmen
Yeah.
for that same reason, right? And that's how you get real buy-in too. But this is a different level where
Yeah.
it's fiercely competitive. So playing time is tough. It's earned, and my job is to put the best group on the floor that's going to give us a chance to have success.
Yeah. And final question. Um, for the season ticket holders that were in the stands last year, that showed up to every game, and it
We
might
love
not have
them.
been the outcome that they wanted. I'm one of those season ticket holders
We
as
love
well.
it.
So we're invested, right? We're going.
Yeah.
A lot of the people in my section have sat in those respective seats before at the forum, of course. But since the beginning of the Sparks franchise, what's your message to those fans on what's going to be different this year, and what position you think we'll be in to affect the culture inside of the arena?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to. I mean, so much of a team's success is having that home crowd advantage. I mean, that's universal. College, pro, whatever, men, women. You have that home court, and I have gotten the sense in the short amount of time that the Sparks have a feverish fan following. And
Yeah.
so my first thing to say to them is thank you. And that's not only appreciated, but we need it.
Mhm.
And I think what I want them to be able to see is a group that loves playing, loves competing. That's we're going to play with pace, we're going to play with space, we're going to shoot the ball. Um, but I want them to see a team that plays collectively. I think you saw, the teams that ended up in the finals, like those guys played together.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talent out there, but they figured out a way to play together. So, and that happens in the locker room and all those things, and that's on me. So, but I would just encourage them to stick with us and come be loud. Let's make crypto the toughest place to play in the W. That's what I say.
That's right. You heard it first, people in LA. Get your season tickets now. Make sure you're coming out to the games, getting loud. Don't let the other team sell us out. Let's make sure
Exactly.
Sparky's there. It's a good time. DJ Malski is always in the building. He's also been on the show. So it's a great vibe in general. And I personally am looking so much forward to those first games in crypto on this new page that we're turning for the LA Sparks.
Amen.
Thank you so much,
Amen.
Coach Lynne. I mean, this has been great. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your afternoon and just talk. Of course, we'll talk soon again. I'll
I
try to
hope
get out to
so.
some practices and get some player interviews and see just how it's going. But I wish you so much success. Your vibes are immaculate. I have nothing but positive feelings for you. You'll hear a lot of me talking about my toxic positivity. So I always believe
Oh,
that the
good.
best is going to happen on the show, even in the face of defeat.
Me
Toxic
too.
positivity.
Me too. That's the key. It's the key. You always got to believe and stay positive. So I appreciate you having me on, seriously. And anytime, if I don't have something else going, I'm on.
LA Sparks Weekly fans, we are off season, but we will never forget about you. If you want more exclusive content like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tag the Sparks and let them know that you love us. We'll be back for another special episode very soon, so make sure you hit that bell to receive notifications.